Welcome, everybody. This is Danny Alvarez and
Gino Collura.
and we are Unstoppable You, Unstoppable Me. We are unstoppable, innovative keynote speakers, and it's been a while since we've been on the microphone, hasn't it?
It's been a minute, buddy.
But we started this way, didn't we? This is how it all started.
Man. 100. We're talking years ago. How long?
Right?
And this is at least 8 years ago, right? We made the idea, the culmination of kind of what this thing is and getting a message out there that you and I believe in wholeheartedly. Yeah, man, it's been cooking for a while.
And it's crazy how things have changed. I mean, first of all, you've got a beard. I didn't know you could grow one.
Yeah, let's put some context, right? I have a salt and pepper beard. Not just a beard, a salt and pepper beard.
A salt and pepper beard, yeah. It looks good on you, though.
I appreciate that, brother.
It does look good on you.
I appreciate it.
I, on the other hand, have lost hair.
I see
As
that.
you gain
Yes,
hair, I have lost
100%.
hair. I just want to call it out so that nobody actually is watching this going, man, he's lost hair.
1,000%.
I've lost hair. Thank you.
You know, it's an amazing thing, man, to see the transformation 7-8 years ago to now, right? I mean, my gosh, you're an elected official.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
we need to
That's
definitely
wild.
dive into that at
That's
some point,
wild
right?
At some point.
I've got 2 kids, right?
You've
Did
got
not have
2
2 kids
kids
when we first started, right?
That's
I
it.
mean, so life has taken on a whole new form, man.
A whole new form, which means a whole lot of material we can get into.
I mean, we're talking not just a few hours, but thousands of hours at this point of content.
So in our old world, we used to do podcasts that went until we got tired.
That's
and
right.
Today we're going to do a quick 30-minute one. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. You know, I think, especially in the times that we are in, Danny, I think it is so important for us to unpack kind of the hallmark for you and I, right? Leadership.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And really get to
Absolutely.
a place of, and the transformation, the growth that we both have gone through, right? Over the past 7-8 years, naturally our understanding and application of leadership has shifted, right?
True.
So many lessons learned of what works and then also plenty of what does not work.
A
right?
lot of what not.
And really getting to the heart of purpose-driven leadership.
Sure.
Right? And kind of what that means and what we've learned about it.
And what about credit?
Oof, right.
What about credit?
And the importance of not caring about credit.
All right, I'm in. Let's get into it.
All right.
Give me a thought.
So this is where I kind of kick off in my mind, right? Especially when we're talking about purpose-driven leadership. What is purpose? And I think so many of us think we have an idea, right, of what purpose is, right? But like, we're not really dialed in, right, on the ethos, right, on the heart of purpose, right? So where do you start with that?
Well, I like without purpose, I'm like adrift in life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny that you say that. Before I get to talk to lead anything, I have to learn how to lead myself.
Facts.
And I can't do that until I have found or have identified my own purpose. So like when I got out of the Army, I remember for years I was listless, unhappy. I hated going to work. I really almost hated looking in the mirror. And it wasn't until I think purpose found me that I came out of that darkness into what I think is the next chapter of my life, or what began the next chapter of my life.
Okay, so let me nerd out for a second, right?
Please nerd out.
I'm going to put the doctor hat on for a second, right? So purpose. So the etymology of purpose, right? It's propositum, right? Which is Latin for what?
Purpose.
That which you put forth.
Okay.
All right. So hold on to that for a second, because you said something so significant, Danny, and I think that I want to hear more, and I know our audience is going to want to hear more, right? That which you put forth, but yet purpose had to find you, right?
That's right.
So where's that intersection? Where's that collide happen, right? Between what it is that you are willing, right? You are willing to put out there, but at the same time, timing in life, right? And variables, certain things have to fall into alignment for you to achieve that clarity, right? When do you know you've achieved that clarity?
It hits you. It literally hits you square in the eyes. You may not even realize you've been hit yet, right? For me, it was moments where the same themes kept reoccurring. For like others were lost, and I said, I was lost. Others were looking. I said, well, I'm looking. And then others were like, well, you got your stuff together. And I was like, you think I have my stuff together?
Always the greatest.
Like,
Hey, you're square. You're good.
You're going great.
No
Danny.
idea.
I was like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then I realized at that point, I said, well, if they're lost and I think I'm lost, what if I start talking to them about, and it turns out to be my own therapeutic moment. So when you and I first started talking to others and getting on stage and doing these things, I often would tell people, hey, if it looks like we are treating ourselves up here, it's because we are. Like I'm talking to you as if I'm hearing what I need to hear, right? Because I know you need to hear the same thing, because our human experience is literally so common.
That's right.
We divide ourselves, especially behind our screens, behind our cars, behind our jobs. And in reality, we're all going through the same thing, but nobody is letting anybody know that they're suffering, going through, or growing through the same things. So
it's interesting, right? Because I think vulnerability has a lot to do with leadership at the same time. And when we're talking about purpose, right? That which I am putting forth that is driving my ability to lead, with no care of who gets the credit or not.
That's right.
It is very much a question of, in my identity, what it is that I believe in, what is the faith, what is the confidence that I bring to the table? Because I will tell you, over the past 7-8 years, I have gone through some serious trials and tribulations, right? That if you're not coming to the table with a strong and grounded sense of who you are and confidence in what you're putting forth, what you're putting out into the world, which is tied to your mission. What is the mission that you seek to serve in this life? If you don't have that, you're never going to understand that collision point of purpose.
Hey, so speaking of it, of what exactly what you're talking about, you know, people come up to me, they're like, "Oh, Danny, you're a state rep. I want to be a state rep." And I said, in my brain,
do you?
In my brain, I'm like, they have no idea what they're talking about. They think they want the shiny thing without paying the price to get up to the shiny thing. And often in life, you can get lucky. So, you know, sometimes like if you're prepared and the opportunity comes, that's where luck is. But you can't like do a business plan for your life based on luck.
No.
You've got to be prepared and put in the work at the beginning. So if you come to me and say, "I want to be you," I say, what you really should be is you want to be the waiter. You want to be the servant. You want to be the person that volunteers at church. Be that person first, right? Do the work, understand what it's like to raise a family.
That's right.
You know, build a business, be a good follower, right? Do these steps first. Tell me that you were that first. And then when the opportunity comes, the calling, right, is so loud that you're like, I must answer this, right? How many times did I say no to being a state rep? How many times was I recruited?
Oh, 100%. Man. Yeah, so absolutely.
In fact, when they called me the third time, they're like, "We know you're going to say no, right? But we really want you to hear us out."
I remember those discussions, man.
Right?
100%. Yes.
And they were flabbergasted that I said, wait. I think I want to hear this and they were like, "Are you really?"
Yeah.
And the answer was, the reason, right? Not the answer. The reason was I was at a point in my life where I had done the work, even though I didn't know I was doing the work, right?
Yeah.
And we had put in the time and the experience, and then a purpose was like, you know, like we're Hispanic, we're Cuban, you and I both have that experience. And during COVID, for me, what happened in America during COVID was beyond unforgivable.
Absolutely.
And I said, I can't watch this happen. And there was the purpose, right? So when I got elected, I had no, people were like, "Hey, what do you want to do when you get to Tallahassee?" I was like, I actually have no idea. Right? I know what I want to stop. I want to know what I want to prevent. I know what I want to protect. So purpose found me, right? And then I took advantage of that moment and then went to the next chapter.
So you know what I think is really interesting about this, right? Is that in the world of purpose, it is okay for your purpose to shapeshift. Right. What I mean by that is that if your heart, the posture of your heart, right, which you and I both have a posture in our heart of servitude, right? We very much value service to others and being able to give back and pour into others. There's many ways you can do that. Right. So whether it's you spending a Sunday volunteering your time, right, to help out those who are in need, or you serving, right, as an elected official, service is service. So if your heart is such that you want to be able to provide some semblance of leadership to others, to influence them, to guide them to a place of betterment for themselves, right? When that collision course happens, right, and fate and time, everything aligns, right? To your point, when that gut feeling gets ignited, right? When your instinct's like, "Oof, I didn't even see that coming, but it's here. Now it's on me to embrace it."
That's a great point.
Right. And so I think the ability to embrace it, to embody it and say, "Look, I don't have it all figured out, but I know that thing that's inside is saying, no, this runs part and parcel with what's in your heart and in your soul, and you need to do this." That's where that courage and confidence drives that type of leadership that we're talking
100%.
about, right? But that drive, man, you have to be all in and buckle up because you don't know what's around the corner, but you have to have the confidence that you're prepared for it. And
what's interesting is, to illustrate what you're saying is, I serve with 120 other legislators in the House, and you can tell the ones that shouldn't be there. They probably have their feelings hurt if they heard me say that, but you can see the ones that their purpose aligned with their opportunity, and they are there. They're not wasting time. They're actually doing the work. And there's others that are just going through the motions. Like they're just there. They'll cast a vote. They're not working very hard. And for me, I'm like, I'm not going to be up here away from my family, wasting my time. So people are like, Danny, I don't know how you do it. I don't either. It doesn't seem anything special to me because we're there. I have a purpose. If you're going to take me away from my family, my job, my kids, then we're going to work and we're going to get some stuff done. So
really important. So two things there, right? So dedication and passion. There's very much an intersection and an interplay where the two of those, right, kind of run together when we're talking about purpose-driven leadership.
Right.
How do you define, especially in your experience, right? How much dedication, how much passion, right? Or is there a governor at all? Is it it's 0 to 100, right? It's 0 or 100.
How do you define if it's a passion, right? Like you die trying, you leave it all on the field. Like we tell the kids, it will support you in X.
Yeah.
But when you go do X, I want it all or we're leaving, right? And so the same thing happens in life. When you find the moment, when you find the thing, and we're talking, everyone's like, oh, Danny, but you're up here, this elected official. That's crap.
Yep.
If you decide you want to be the best toll booth worker, right? And that's your passion, you rock that like there's no tomorrow. You want to be the best mother? There's no limiter on mom, right? There's no limit on being a great mom. Everyone can see from every moment that you've put in the level of passion that you've got. If you tell me there's a limit to your passion, then I tell you it's not your passion, it's your job.
Yeah, no, so like super important here because I think the faith that any one of us has, right, and what it is our purpose is a really big deal, right? Now, what do I mean by that? When you break down faith, what am I actually saying, right? It's the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. The substance. What's the substance that falls within that you are hopeful for, right? What is it defined by, right? So when I say that, think of it, right? So you have confidence, right? You have belief, you have passion. That's great, right? But what is the substance inside that is driving all of it in the first place, right? It's hard. How do you quantify that? I don't know, right? Either it's there or it's not.
It's not.
Right? And so there's very much a delineation between a choice you have to make, right? And the choice is, man, do I give into it? And do I go 100%? Or do I dip my toe in and say, yeah, I'm going to kind of do this thing and see if it fits, but I'm not really sure, right? Where I think most people, that's where they fall. I think most people are afraid to go all in. I think most people are afraid of what it means to actually commit wholeheartedly to something because if you fail, man, you're going to fail hard. But the thing about it is that it's okay.
It is.
Right? It's okay. And I think we lose sight of that.
You know, the thing is, I think a lot of people mistake purpose and passion, right? And they realize they've made a mistake being where they are. So now they think fake it till you make it works. Fake it till you make it does not work where
I despise that, man.
Passion and mission come first, right? So if you're going to be a servant leader in whatever you do, right? You don't fake that in any way because the second you do, every subordinate sees it, every stakeholder sees it, and you lose the credibility that you can never gain back, right? So if you're not there to actually do the thing you say you're going to do, you should go home.
Thank you.
Because you're harming not only yourself, but whatever constituency that you've got that's supposed to be backing you.
Do you know, so in a very real sense, in my book, right, I specifically call out fake it till you make it. And the reason why I call out fake it till you make it.
I may have read it.
Says the guy with 15 signed copies. But that's okay. That's okay, right? But think of what we're actually saying here. Think of what we're teaching youth, right? When we say fake it till you make it, right? Just the sheer notion that I would encourage you to fake anything, right? What am I teaching about? Really exploring the inner frontier of who you are as a human being. Because if you want to talk about purpose, the only way you actually unveil your purpose is through honesty.
That's right.
And you have to be honest with yourself. And look, man, if you don't have the skills, if you're not ready yet, that is okay. That is where you start.
That's it.
And then you build brick by brick, one step at a time, all the way up to get to the pinnacle. But the idea of saying, I'm going to go right to the pinnacle, what are we doing? What are we saying here, right? Because there's no solid foundation. You're building a castle out of sand instead of brick, right? And that leads to nothing but destruction. The moment any sort of itty bitty adversity hits you, the breeze hits, the water hits, you're done, right?
That's right.
Versus brick by brick, right? With the right material. And the right material is honesty, raw honesty with people. And you know what? As scary as it is, people appreciate it. People respect it. For me to walk into a room and say, look, I don't know what I'm doing, but I will tell you what I do know, right? I know I have the belief to figure it out, and I have the belief in each of you that we're going to figure it out.
1,000%.
What more do you want?
That's it.
Right?
And your subordinates, they would love that.
Absolutely.
Right? How many times have you seen someone go in back up? For me, you could put me in charge of a bunch of welders.
Yeah.
I'd love to weld.
Yeah.
I've never welded anything in my life.
Same.
Could we lead a bunch of welders? I believe I could.
100%.
Right? I'm going to go in there and tell them I don't have a freaking clue about how to weld anything, but we're going to figure out.
That's right.
We're going to empower the right people. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get all nervous that you know more than me, right? And what are we going to put? Mission first, right? And so that brings us not full circle, but back to the way you started this thing. Mission above everything.
That's right.
Credit is second.
What
are your thoughts?
All right. So this is the big thing, right? And so this idea of that we're always chasing credit. Now this is where there's a bit of an uphill battle, right? Because society would tell us, like, go and get yours, right? Like if you're out there and you're not getting what it is that you deserve, right, then you're doing it wrong. Here's the challenge with that. How do you define what it is that you deserve? Because if you're truly mission-centric, right?
That's right.
What you deserve is to be part of the team that makes it to the pinnacle, right? That's the pat on the back. It's not the Danny show. It's not the Gino show. It doesn't work that way, right? It's, did we achieve the common objective? Keyword is common. Are we sharing that? That has everything to do with alignment and mission and vision, being together and having a very clear understanding of what are we doing here? Because if you and I are doing something, right, but we're not in alignment with what that common objective is, right, or we lie to one another about what our intentions are, man, look, let's go back to the old days, man, being an attorney, being a business attorney. How many partnerships did you see that would fail because they get to a point to where they start tasting success, and now the narcissism, now the stinginess, now the true intention starts coming out.
You know what I used to tell people? Hey, this is the table you're creating your dreams, and this is the same table where I'll break them up for you.
100%.
And they were always like, not us.
Of course.
95% of the people,
that's right,
we wind up their company on the same table that it was born at. So
literally, right? Like what I have been doing for the past 4 years is exactly that, right? It's working with very successful family offices, businesses, right? And navigating those waters with them. And it's the same story every time, Danny. It's the same thing. And it's all because there was deceit. There was not authentic.
That's right.
You were not coming to the table saying, look, my goal in this thing is I want to make that 10 mil, that 15, 20 mil. No, that's not what you said. You made it seem like you were a team player.
Like we're family.
Exactly. When in reality, right, what was in your heart was not that.
That's true. Listen, you can have a family. Go have a family.
For sure.
We're partners.
Yes.
What's our purpose? We're here to make money. Okay. I'm still going to like you. 100%. I still want to love you.
That's right.
But our goal is not about making Gino feel good. It's about making money.
Right. 100%.
If that's what your purpose is in that business, right?
That's exactly right.
So I'm telling you, I'm a super firm believer in mission first.
Absolutely.
Okay? And in fact, I had to pull it up because I jack this up all the time, right? It says, it's amazing what you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit, right? And that I have a sign outside of my door.
Yeah, you do.
It doesn't matter if you're the governor of the state of Florida, if you are some powerful CEO. I've had like big insurance company. If you don't touch that sign before you walk in you'll never walk in my office. And I've had people literally stop and they're already seated. I was like, you touch the sign? And they're like, no. I'm like, sir, you need to get up. And like, that's in front of their lobbyists. That's in front of their coworkers. I make them get up.
That's right.
Because that is what we're putting forward, right? As you come talk to me. If we're not about the betterment of Florida, which is my mission right now, if you're not about the security of Florida or putting the mission first for Florida in this example of my life, then you don't have any time to give me or me to give you, period. But I want to tell you something. I have had to eat those words. And it's incredible how you and I can go on stage and we tell everybody mission first. And then when the challenge comes, I forget how hard it is.
It is.
I want to give you an example. So in the off season, I spend all my time writing proposed laws, right?
Yeah.
And these are all these ideas, and I had a ton of them this year. And I came back and we got into session, and I put them all in, and they made me a chair of a committee. And I didn't have time to run my own bills, so I had to go find other people to do it, or I was forbidden because some of the bills might come in front of me,
right?
And so I went and fought for the bills. I partnered with people. They gloriously took the yes, and they did it. They fought with me, and we got bills across. And then I'm at home, session is over, and I'm reading the newspaper articles, and they're like, this brilliant bill by Representative X, this incredible idea. And I looked at my wife and I was like, holy moly. I'm sitting there going, that's my bill.
Yeah.
That's but then I go, it's not my bill.
That's right.
The purpose was to help this cop. The purpose 100%. Was to help this farmer. And we got it done. You know what I mean? Just no one knows Danny Alvarez had anything to do with it.
Right.
And I'm just going to have to be happy with knowing that we got it done. And my wife every once in a while was like, you're special, Danny. You're the best. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to have to be happy with that.
100%.
But I'm telling you, it's hard.
So, and this is the thing, right? The power of silent service.
Yeah.
All right. I think that is a really important thing because look, there are plenty of silent heroes who are watching us right now.
That's right.
And communities that you and I are involved in.
That's right.
And who have done things that have kept this nation safe, right? That have allowed us to prosper as well, right? Who will never get credit. Who will never understand, right, what it means to be up on stage and get that round of applause, right? And there's so much to be learned from that, right? And being able to apply that to our everyday lives, right? I'm talking about like your responsibility as a parent, your responsibility as a good community member, as a boss, whatever that looks like. If you are constantly seeking the validation in your own personality and identity from credit that other people are giving you, I'm telling you right now, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy though? As I looked in the mirror and I was like, guy, calm down. You know what I mean? I'm the same guy who, like, when people actually say something nice about him, I'm like, oh, I feel super uncomfortable. So I share this story because people will always go, well, you guys are up there and you.
Sure.
This happens to everyone.
Oh no.
Humility
massive
is an incredible check on your ego and yourself, right?
1000%.
And you just got to practice.
So very powerful and very significant, right? Someone who I'm very close to, who's been a long-term mentor of mine in the world of behavioral science, has said something several times, and it is very true, right? And the saying is this: the entire point and purpose of your own journey is to work yourself out of your own narcissism, right? And now really think about that for a second, right? Because what you and I are talking about right now, they're narcissistic tendencies that I don't care who you are, everybody has.
Everyone has.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
Let's be real clear about that, right? Working yourself out of that means there is a death to yourself, right? And a dedication to mission that happens, right? Death to yourself, dedication to mission. Now, this is symbolic. This is not obviously, right?
Yeah, of course.
But the whole point and purpose is that what you think you need and what you think you want are vastly different, right? And the idea that you need to have that validation, you need to have that credit. No, you don't, right? You want it. Right? You crave it because you want the attention for that spotlight to be on you. And that's okay. But understand the opportunity cost that comes along with it, because you're also kind of lying to yourself. When you do get that praise, you're like, oh, well, I'm the man. And look what I did, right?
That's right.
It's not what you think it is.
It's not. And it looks sad.
It does.
It looks sad.
It very much does.
Again, I will say it. I keep watching these like surfer documentaries. And these dudes
actually want to be a surfer, Danny? Because I
wish I could be a surfer.
You don't have the hair, though, brother. I'm sorry.
I have. Well, I did see a balding surfer the other day.
Did you really?
But the zen that they pursue, right? Even they fail at it. You know 100%. What I mean? And like they're all like in connection with the ocean and the water and stuff like that. I think what you said is important. It's a journey and the death of yourself in that sense.
Yes.
Because when I do see other people seek the praise and attention so much, I almost lose respect for them. You know what I mean? So it was about you.
Yeah.
It was about you.
Yeah.
It wasn't about like solving this problem for so-and-so.
You know, it's interesting, right, dude? Because if you look at some of the most elite level athletes that exist, some of them, a good chunk of them, right, are pretty full of themselves, right?
Sure.
And they want the glory, right? They want the spotlight, right? And yeah, they may have a following, right? But what ends up happening once they start tasting the other side, maybe they lose, right? What they're rooted in, what they're grounded in, it becomes shakeable very fast versus when you're mission centric, you are unshakable.
That's right.
Because it's not about you. It's about the bigger picture. And when it's about you, there's no bigger picture there.
That's exactly right. I think that's a good point to end it on. Last
Agreed,
thoughts?
Man. No, man. Listen, I've missed this, man.
Me too. Yeah, me too. This has been good.
This has been real good. Absolutely, brother. I think that's the plan.
On behalf of Gino and myself, we are Unstoppable Me. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.